Welcome back, guys. Welcome to another video brought to you by your one and only literary pharaoh. I am going to be talking about Shedeur Sanders and the unfair critique that's heaped upon him. I say unfair because it's just unfair. It's not that I'm a fanboy of Shedeur. If you guys know me from the past, when I would criticize Coach Prime and criticize Shedeur Sanders, it was always fair. And I was very critical to the point that people would get on my channel and give comments and leave comments and say things to the effect of, man, you're a hater. You sound like Jason Whitlock. And if you guys know me from this channel, I hate to be compared to Jason Whitlock by any. I mean, there's no comparison. He's fat, I'm fit. He's a true sense of what you call a hater, because if you look at most of his topics and the subject angle that he takes on his topics, he's always taking a pro-European angle to attack melanated or colored people. So he tries his hardest to stand out against being a racial idolater, to the point that he is an inverted racial idolater. And I talked about this before on my channel. It's like you can try to be so hard against something that you end up indicting yourself with the same accusation that you're heaping upon other people. So you have to be careful. It's sort of like if you're calling somebody a hater all the time without any justification to call that person a hater, you become hateful yourself by calling people haters without any base to stand on, if that makes any sense. But before I get into this video, before I get into this content, I'm going to play a song just to get my mind right, because right now my mind's racing, and I want to make sure that I lay out my points in a sequence that's going to make sense. So I'm going to play this song and just let it play, get my thoughts together, and just give me a minute, okay? I normally do this before I get on video, but I'm doing this now while I'm on video. I should not have hit the record button, but hey, we're here.
I'm working on time.
She been broke, but I ain't too tough to say I love her and I miss you. My dog don't care if we fall out, nigga, I never condition. For the chains and the fame, only we seen the vision. Write my name, let it bang, going out with my pistol. Got me a taste of this fame, it was sweet as bitter. Maybe it came with pillars, I can't talk in no pillars. On the dangerous, but that don't make me no killer. Heard you caught a hit, but that don't make you no killer. Reaching out feel fit, look like I play for the Steelers. Fans say when I rap, they hear the pain in my rhythm. Keeping them far back until I know they enjoy. All these niggas capping like they're man in the middle. They gon' make you wanna cause the views will be bigger. Ain't no way to explain the way you using these skills. I knew the road, I would've rolled the rest of roll in the dice. It's the same inside my brain, I'm spinning this pain on the mind. Got a ball like I'm with Chamberlain and hell of a price. Live when I'm on drugs, but they just ain't very bright. Might yourself for a dub, I keep these bitches on ice. I can't fall in love, I need a specific type. Careful with your choices, cause you can't make it twice. Money don't impose so much, they be sacrifice. Life a roller coaster, turns cold, going back high. My day's been a blur, can't get that dirt out my eyes. Run through a whole dub, this round I'm keeping it tight. Cry more on my knees tonight, I'm trying to get right. Times it don't feel even, but I still gotta try. Living through the seasons till the day when we die. Ain't nobody stopping when you pop it, you pop it. Hoping that I flop, but I sold copies and copies. Just hang in my boxes, give me range in my options. No, you ain't an op, I still proceed with caution. Geeking on them shoes, I'm saying my words like I'm writing. Cause every single move I do so we can go right. My friends coming through for me, you think they ain't tight. Thinking about the crew again, cause we reunited. She done made slow motion, but the peace stay declining. Can't see too much over, and it's mostly deposit. Can't too much to show, and you just know that I got it. Niggas show they hate before they do something positive. Niggas just want you fade away and hold it forgotten. It ain't gonna be easy to take this outside of $1. Figure that all the ends can take care of all of my problems. Rapping on so for real this time, we're stronger together. Careful with your choices, cause you can't make it twice. sacrifice. Life a roller coaster, turns cold on back high. My day's been a blur, can't get that dirt out my eyes. Run through a whole door, this round I'm keeping it tight. Crammer on my knees at night, I'm trying to get right. Times it don't feel even, but I still gotta try. Living through the seasons till the day that we die.
All right, man. I've got my mind together. Okay, so this Shedeur Sanders thing is taking on a very hyperbolic sort of angle, meaning that there are extremes to this. And what I'm trying to do is insert some sort of objectivity and some sort of stance that's based on logic and what we normally know of first-round quarterbacks and quarterbacks that go to bat football teams. Again, my standard is always going to be Peyton Manning, because Peyton Manning, when he came in, and I'm not comparing Shedeur Sanders to Peyton Manning, but what I am saying is that you can't bury a guy his rookie year. A rookie season that has not had any consistencies in terms of him even working with the first team. I'm talking about Shedeur when I'm talking about the person who hasn't been given a fair shake. So if he's never been given a fair shake, it's very, very unwise to think that you're going to get on a sports talk show like Emmanuel Acho, Jason Whitlock. These are just two to mention. There are many others that had this. Colin Cowherd does the same thing too. He's very up and down. He can ride the wave with a player 1 minute and then all of a sudden bury a player the next minute. And I think that where there's inconsistencies, you can find consistencies in the inconsistencies. What I mean by that is that if a player is inconsistent, then we can kind of meet at a middle ground and say, okay, this is probably where they are at. It's sort of like taking the law of averages. You take the numbers and you average them out. If a kid makes 100 on a test and then makes a 50 on the next test, that's inconsistent, but you take both and you make an average, right? You come out with an average. That's what I'm trying to say with Shedeur Sanders, is that you can take his best games that he's played, whether it's the preseason game that he had a good game or whether it was the other regular season game that he had that was pretty good. You could take those, and you can take the bad games that he's played, and then you can come up with some sort of an analysis based upon those two reference points. But however, the problem that we're having is that people already have a predisposed notion of what they want Shedeur to be. People who already have a fixed mindset that he's a trash quarterback or that he's not a good quarterback are waiting for games where he plays subpar, below average, right? Let's say he has a bad game where his passer rating is low, doesn't throw for that many yards, his passing percentages is not great. People who don't like Shedeur or don't think that he's a good quarterback will latch onto that narrative, will latch onto that stat line and use that as their base or their foundational stance to launch their analysis from. And I think that's unfair, because you're taking an angle that already fits your predisposed narrative. I'll be back. I got to take this call. All right. So as I was saying, it's unfair criticism because Shedeur started from an unfair point. He had an unfair vantage point. His stance, or where he began, was already against him. So we have to factor that in when we're giving our analysis about Shedeur Sanders. No one is saying that he's the best quarterback in the NFL or anything like that, but what we are saying is that from what we saw of him in college, in terms of his accuracy, ball placement, leadership, intangibles, he's much better than what the majority of pundits are talking about. And I think that the majority of pundits have something against the Sanders. Not just Shedeur Sanders, but Dion. I just think that, this is just my opinion, I feel that whenever people of color are making some sort of an ascension in whatever field that they're in, the critique on us, on our kind of people, is very hyper. It's hypercritical, meaning that we don't get the same sort of grace or the same leeway as other races get. we are harsher against our own kind. And unfortunately, it's people of our own kind that do it to our own kind. So it's sort of like, I'm going to use the analogy here, and I hate using it, but I'm going to use it anyway. When people say black on black crime, it sort of fits that sort of rhetoric is the black on black crime, because you have people like Jason Whitlock and Emmanuel Acho, which are just two out of many that are very, very hypercritical on DeSanders as a whole, and very hypercritical on Shedeur. Personally, to me, Shedeur hasn't done anything wrong apart from those speeding tickets that he had. Okay, big deal. It hasn't happened again. He's learned his lesson. He says all the right things. He doesn't throw teammates underneath the bus. You can try to bait him all you want. He doesn't fall for the bait. But his last game that he played, just listen to a lot of, people who create content. It seemed like there was a heavy leaning on the negative on Shedeur because of that one game. I never knew this, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, if you're listening to me. I never knew that a person's career was dictated by one damn game. Even the best quarterbacks have had bad games. Brady has had bad games in the past. Now, you guys may say, well, Shedeur Sanders, he's not accomplished enough to have the space to have a bad game. Yes, he's a rookie. Did you guys have the same metric of measurement? The same metric that you guys are using to chastise Shedeur Sanders and criticize his game. Did you guys have the same energy against Caleb Williams his rookie year? And I would argue and say that Chicago Bears has a better, organization than Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns, listen to me, guys. Cleveland Browns is known as a team that kills its quarterbacks. That's what Shedeur is right now. Not only is he on a team that's known for killing quarterbacks, he's on a team that has a coach that really doesn't believe in him. All Shedeur Sanders has is himself to believe in. He can't depend on my coach to believe in me, because he already knows my coach doesn't believe in me. So Shedeur Sanders is such a strong-minded individual that his belief in himself has to be high. It has to teeter on arrogance, because it's all coming from him. He has to push the envelope. He has to continue to do the Shedeur to remind people of who he is, because obviously his coaching staff around him don't believe in him. He's on a team that his coaches don't believe in him. I want you guys to think about that for a second. Some coaches can fake like they believe in you, even if they don't believe in you. His coaches aren't faking it. They're not even faking like they believe in him. They're letting them know we don't believe in you. Because of the fandom that's behind Shedeur, I think that it puts the organization, especially a coach like Stefanski, in a weird, peculiar position where he's sort of kind of forced to kind of play Shedeur against his will. Sort of like the fandom that was behind Tebow. Well, the difference between Tebow and Shedeur is that Shedeur can actually throw the ball. He can actually quarterback. I think that Tebow was more of a clown or a sideshow to me. He was never an NFL quarterback. Whatever he accomplished in college was just college. He should have came in and humbled himself and switched his position to tight end, or switched his position to fullback or something like that. Just because you are successful as a college quarterback doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to translate to the NFL, especially the type of quarterback that he was in Florida. He wasn't a guy that just, dropped back and threw the ball 30 plus times. He was just a bull. He was a strong quarterback. He ran, RPOs and things like that, and won big games, and that's not going to translate to the NFL. You have to have a particular skill set that's niche. Either you can spin the ball very well, or you're very accurate, or you're very athletic. And Tebow didn't have anything. He was good in many things, but he wasn't great at one thing. So the comparisons with Shedeur and Tebow is just the fandom. But I would argue and say that the fandom behind Tebow was more fandom. What I mean by fandom is just people were fanatics. Like, no matter what, Tebow. Oh, he loves Jesus. We just love him because he loves Jesus. He's the second coming of Jesus. Like, it was just, It was very illogical and very emotionally based thinking. And people were making decisions based upon their emotions. With Shedeur, not so much. I think that the fans of Shedeur know football. And the fans of Shedeur actually know that he can play because we've seen it, the eye test. Now, you do have probably a small pocket, a small percentage of those fans that are just fans in terms of fandom over Shedeur because they like the father-son relationship, and they believe God has chosen Shedeur. I mean, people always want to add the element of spirit in everything, which is stupid because the God you guys think of doesn't give two shits about a football game or who starts a freaking football game. So it really kills me when I hear people trying to insert some sort of God and Jesus narrative into this. I'm like, oh, Jesus is watching over him. I'm like, you guys are idiots. Life is much bigger than football, just a freaking sport. Anyway, so I think that the criticism of Shedeur is unfair because, number one, he's a rookie, and he's in a okay. Let me give you all the filters of why I grade Shedeur the way I grade him in a fair stance. I'm going to give him a fair shake. Number one, for starters, he's a rookie. Number two, he plays for Cleveland Browns. Those two right there is enough to kill a quarterback. Okay. Number two, he plays for Cleveland Browns. Number three, he plays for an organization where his coaches don't believe in him. Number four, he's never been the day one starter. Not that I'm saying that he should have been, but there's something that's said for a quarterback that starts the season or has a continuous engagement with first team, meaning that he's playing with the first team of offensive linemen, he's practicing with the first team of wide receivers, and practicing with the first team of running backs. So you get to build some sort of camaraderie and continuity with that team. Chemistry is built within the realm of repetition. So if you repeat something enough, it becomes muscle memory. The things you do become second nature. You don't have to think, because if you're thinking too much in the football game, that's not good. Game day, you're not supposed to think. You're supposed to be an autopilot. So with that being said, he's never had that opportunity. Dylan Gabriel was played before him. They started off with Flacco, then they went to Dylan Gabriel. They even went with some other quarterback that they pulled from another team. So they've showed Shedeur with so many signs that they don't believe in him. So those are all the things that I'm using to base my judgment on Shedeur with. When Shedeur was in Colorado, and I know the pushback. Well, it was college. College is not the same as the NFL. It's not. Bo Nix was good in college. Bo Nix is good in the NFL. The reason why I'm using Bo Nix as an example is because when you go to a good coach that actually believes in you and is hinging their whole career on your success, you will be successful if you have a competent quarterback behind center. Bo Nix wasn't the tallest quarterback. He's not the fastest. He's not the most athletic, but he was good enough in college. He goes to play for Sean Payton in Denver, and the rest is history. Look at the way he looks. Now, am I saying that Bo Nix is a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders? Right now, it looks like it. But again, you have to look at things through the lens of the filters that I just mentioned. It's not like Bo Nix is playing for a coach that doesn't believe in him. Bo Nix when he got to Denver, he started immediately. If he didn't start immediately, I don't remember, but he didn't have to wait too long. And not only that, he's had consistency in his second year in the NFL. He's played enough with the first team, and he's getting those reps. The way Bo Nix looked his rookie year is not the way he looks his second year. He looks better his second year. He looks more competent. He looks more confident. So I want you guys to take all those things into consideration when you're talking about Shedeur Sanders, Emmanuel Acho, and the Jason Whitlocks of the world, and others out there that are just heaping upon him unfair criticism. He's not playing for a great coach. Now, you guys may think Stefanski, you guys may believe that he is, but I don't think that he knows how to use Shedeur Sanders. Now, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say this because I don't have any proof to say it, so I'm going to be very careful in what I say. I'm not going to say that Stefanski, quote unquote, has an agenda or has some sort of conspiratory narrative against Shedeur. Like, I don't think that he's planning to sabotage Shedeur's career. I really think that he really doesn't believe in Shedeur Sanders. I don't think it's personal either. I just think it's really from his so-called alleged position as a coach that knows how to perhaps detect talent. Maybe he really thinks that Dylan Gabriel was a better fit in his offensive scheme. I don't know. But what I do know is that if you go to a team that a quarterback is loved by the coach and the coach believes in the quarterback, there's an inevitable synergistic exchange between those two, that one believes in the other and the other one knows that you believe in him, then they end up playing to that belief. I'm not saying that they're going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying they're not going to have bad games. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that there's something that goes when an organization believes in you. Caleb Williams, they believed in him, even though he had a shaky rookie year. They believed in him. Look at him now. He has a competent coach that's building the system around Caleb's strengths and doing things to minimize the weaknesses of Caleb Williams. Shedeur Sanders doesn't have that. He has a coach that doesn't believe in him, and the schemes of the coach may not be conducive to bringing about success of what Shedeur Sanders can actually produce on the football field. So Shedeur is playing against a lot of things, and yet he's still standing in there somewhat competent. He has one bad game, and I hear the majority of the sports media just banging on the kid as if he's just trash. How can you? I don't believe he's trash. Now, does he have certain things that he can get better at? Of course. But I think that he's talented enough, good enough to land as a starting quarterback on any NFL team. Is he the best quarterback in the NFL? Of course, I'm not saying that. Not everyone is Josh Allen. Not everyone is Lamar Jackson. Not everyone is Mahomes. Okay, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that he's competent enough and skilled enough and has enough talent with his accuracy to be an NFL starting quarterback. That's period. So to me, guys, you guys have to kind of push back a little bit on just the negativity surrounding him. I've never heard or seen anything that he's done that's made me say, oh, okay, there you go, you deserve it. He doesn't deserve any of it. Now, he's young. He's probably did certain things that were probably perceived as being immature in college. I get it. And some of you guys may have something personal against him. Y'all think that he's a spoiled brat. He's daddy's boy. Daddy's always protected him. Now, if you start to have your sports takes based upon those filters, that's going to force you to be biased in your analysis. And if you're biased, then you really can't put yourself in the category of being a fair critic. You're being unfair. And that's what I see happening with Shedeur Sanders. The unfair criticism. He's going to be fine. Remember, the last video I made about Shedeur Sanders, I said, let the universe cook. This is part of the universe cooking. And as the universe cooks, he'll be fine. He's going to have his bad games here or there. But need I remind you guys, he's not Joe Montana. He's not going to come in the first year lighting it up against all the odds, against all the things that I mentioned. A coach that doesn't believe in him, didn't really practice consistently with first team. Who knows if the coach is even putting in plays that he knows that leads to the strength of Shedeur Sanders. The team Denver is not really even a good football team. You could put any quarterback there in Colorado. You could put any quarterback in the NFL there, with the exception of probably Josh Allen, because Josh Allen can just put on his cape and do some amazing things with his legs and just improvise and just do great things. But apart from Josh Allen, which there's only one of him in the NFL, you can put any quarterback there in Denver. I'm not in Denver, but in Cleveland, and they're not going to achieve. Cleveland doesn't have a good football team, folks. They don't have a good football team. And Shedeur is playing for a bad football team with a coach that doesn't believe in him. So if you add all those things in, the fact that he's even standing upright and the fact that he's even out there making some sort of plays should be commendable. He should be commended for that. And I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine. What I do want, what I hope for is that either Stefanski leaves or Shedeur leaves. I don't think those two could be together because the relationship is just too fractured. I don't think that, Shedeur personally hates him, but I just think that there's too much toxicity between the two. But it's subtle toxicity. I don't think it's overt. Like, you don't hear them on press conferences talking bad about each other. Shedeur is smarter than that. He's going to say the right things in front of the camera. But as a young man, to know that your coach doesn't believe in you, that hurts. That hurts. And especially when a coach is going out of their way to show that they don't believe in you. But again, it's done subtly. The coach is not doing it. He's not going on press conferences, post-game conferences saying, oh, yeah, I don't like Shedeur Sanders. He's a horrible quarterback. He's not going to say that. That's not the way you address the media. He just says, he gives politically correct answers that doesn't show that he believes in Shedeur Sanders. And that, to me, is a recipe for disaster if you keep those two together. I don't mind Shedeur staying in Cleveland. If he stays in Cleveland, I want him to stay there because history is made in Cleveland. What do I mean by that is that if you have a franchise that's been historically bad and a franchise that's been historically bad at quarterback play, if Shedeur Sanders comes there, which he's there now, and let's say Stefanski leaves and they get another coach there, if Shedeur Sanders does well in Cleveland, that's also history in the making. It can be he's the first Cleveland quarterback to do X, Y, Z. He's the first franchise quarterback to be the starter for X amount of years. He's the first Cleveland quarterback to throw for these touchdowns and da-da-da-da. So he can rewrite the history books. I'm not big on people leaving situations that are too hard for them, but I am for people leaving situations that are impossible. In my opinion, I think that it's going to be impossible for Shedeur Sanders to have success with Stefanski. That whole dynamic of coach not believing in player, it's not good. Now, if the coach believed in the player and the player went out there and stunk it up every game, then I get it. It's on the player. However, that's not the case. You have a coach that doesn't believe in the player, and even if the player stinks it up, the coach is not putting belief in him. So not only is the player playing against the opposition, the defense, you're trying to come at Shedeur to take his head off. He's also playing against the psychology of his coach, the mindset of his coach. I have to play against my coach to prove to him that I'm good enough. And no matter what I do, I'm never good enough. So it's almost like the coach is waiting for Shedeur to have bad games to sort of look at the media and say, you see what I said? If you're coming from that position, if you're coming from a half glass half empty perspective, then you're always going to lean on the negative. Any little thing he does, if he throws one pick, you're going to harp on that one pick. He can throw for over 300 yards. But if you want to harp on something negative, you're going to find something negative to talk about. And I think you can't play for a coach that has that kind of mindset, who doesn't believe in you, who doesn't devise schemes for you to be successful. So I'm going to leave it there. Give me your comments. Tell me what you guys think. And remember, just let the universe cook. I think that Shedeur is going to be fine. No need to panic. It's just one game. I've been listening to what a lot of people have been saying, which is what drove me to make this video. I just want you guys to know that he'll be okay. All right, peace. Until next time. Bye.